either July. Okay. Move on to the agenda. 14623. Any disposable pecuniary interest? No. Nope. If there is any come up, let us know. Apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received from Councillor Ronwood.
Mr. Brindle's not here. Okay. 14823, the minutes to confirm the minutes, the allotment committee meetings held on the 9th and 21st of March 2023. They've been through full council. Yeah. Okay. Decision to agree. This is the minutes. You're happy? Good. 14923, committee terms of reference. I would like for us to co-opt 2 members of allotments onto the committee in a non-voting role, that they can sit at the table with us and have a non-voting role. To do this, we have to change our terms of reference.
Correct.
Yeah, which is what? Okay. Oh, you read that.
So essentially, to facilitate that, we've set the quorum of the committee at 3 councillors. So if you have non-members, they would be considered that. We've just said that the quorum, in determining the quorum, we wouldn't take into account non-councillor members because they're non-voting, otherwise you wouldn't be able to make decisions. And the second change we've done is just added a clause, membership of the committee, which you'll see on the screen behind me. It's highlighted in yellow. In terms of standing order 4C, the committee may appoint non-councillors as members of the committee. The number of non-councillor members cannot exceed 3, otherwise it undermines the quorum, and non-councillor members are not voting. That would be the proposed change to facilitate non-councillor members of this particular committee.
What do you think? Sorry.
To just clarify the non-voting bit, is that because it's the law that non-councillors can't vote at council meetings? Do I understand that correct?
No, they can, and they can vote. It would just be a matter of determining that.
Yeah.
I've studied standing orders quite intensely in the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, I was aware that in certain circumstances, non-councillors can vote.
Okay.
And that's why setting the quorum and the ratio of non-councillor to council. Otherwise, 3 members of the non-councillor could call a meeting, knowing that you had another meeting, and call a meeting and make decisions. And that's not really the spirit of what you were looking for. So I think there's enough safeguards in these 2 amendments to actually assist the committee and achieve the objective of having external expertise advising the committee in a formal structure.
What I would like is one from the Mumford Road and one from the far end, from the other end of town. But we sort it out after we sort this. Do we have to agree the terms of reference first?
This would have to go to full council. Once full council have agreed this, you would then nominate at the next meeting. You would make a decision, and they would join the committee there and there.
Okay, is that fair enough? You nominate, then the full council will put this through. Then hopefully, then we'll wait for nominations from the Mumford Road and the other end of town. Happy? Yeah. Yep. Okay then.
You? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'd like to. This is all new. So who's second? Okay. Thank you. Right. 15023 committee officers update. So
allotment inspections have been carried out on all sites, and this has resulted in 28 letters being sent to allotment tenants. The issues found.
oh, excuse me. Could you reset that a bit so they can all hear? I can hear from this side. That's, if you want mine.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Getting technical now.
Allotment inspections have been carried out on all sites, and this has resulted in 28 letters being sent to allotment tenants. The issues found were connected with non-combinations, livestock and structures. 2 notices of quit letters have been served. With the allotment inspections, if it's found that they've been neglected in the way of non-combinations, we normally give them 8 weeks to try and put it right. After that time, a second inspection is carried out, And if there's no improvement, then a notice to quit will be issued. That's why you're seeing some plots looking vacant, and in fact, we've given them the tenant that amount of time to try and bring them round, because there's, there could be reasons why they haven't had time to do this. So we have to allow them some time there. The main work that's been carried out has been clearing vacant plots to a good standard to allocate those as quickly as possible. At present, there are 14 vacant plots, and some of those require clearance work to bring them up to a required standard. The clearance work is at different stages, and I'll go over that a little bit more in depth a bit later on. The allotment waiting list stands at 62 applicants, and the average waiting time is up to a year. Since the last allotment committee meeting, the number of applicants contacted, so the last committee meeting was in March, we've contacted 20, and thus this has resulted in 12 applicants going forward with the offer. So not, as you say, the waiting list stands at 62, but not all of those applicants go forward with it. The muntjac problem we've had with various allotment sites, we've now put in additional guards on the gates to prevent them from gaining access. And I haven't had any reports that from allotment units that there's been a problem. Oh, okay. You've had to spoil it, haven't you? Yeah. Right. Okay. So if they're already in there, and Monthly Road being quite a big site, they're probably undercover somewhere. So we're probably it's a question of trying to turn them out. I'm not sure what else we can do. Apart from looking at the boundary fence lines, if there's any, gaps underneath fence lines, that sort of thing. We've tried anyway. We tried the barriers, so that's a step forward.
Sorry.
The newly formed beekeeping group at Berry Road is now fully established. I think they've had a few swarms, but they've dealt with those okay. We've had no reports from the general public. Health and safety concerns. Oh yeah, there's a group of ash trees along the boundary line of Station Lane, and they've been made safe now. That's the end of that report. With regards to vacant plots, unlike a traffic light system here, the ones in red, they require quite a bit of work, in excess of a week or two. And some of it probably require mechanical help in the way of a mini digger. The highlighted yellow ones are not so bad. I could probably get those turned around in less than a week. The green ones probably no more than a day or two, and some of those have actually been advocated now. So some of those are in the process of being advocated, or just need a final day or two to bring them round. The other thing was allocation of vacant allotment plots, exploring the advantages and disadvantages of allocating allotment plots in an uncleared state. So the advantages would be the applicant would be offered the plot almost immediately when they become available, vacant. So it reduces the workload on council staff. It reduces the cost of skips. The disadvantages is perhaps health and safety concerns. It's not, until you start to clear a plot, it's a bit unknown what you're going to find beneath the undergrowth. We've come across asbestos, broken glass, that type of thing. And also if the tenant is going to take down structures, you're not quite sure how they're going to go about that in a safe manner. Also, a concern is if it only favours applicants who promise to clear their plot. So it sort of reduces the availability to applicants who are unable or unwilling to clear a neglected plot. And where would the rubbish, once they've cleared it, where would it end up? Is there temptation to burn plastic material or bury broken glass? And also we expect a £50 retained deposit in case the tenant vacates the plot in a state. So are we expecting to not take a deposit from the person? I'd see that as being a bit unfair. What would be the expected time limit for a tenant to fulfil their promise of clearing the cultivated plot? It would also it would pose the difficulty of, because we're halving plots now to make them more available. I normally install pathways, demarcations of where the plot ends. That's very hard to do if you haven't cleared it. So it's sort of be left down to the tenant who takes over the neglected plot. Other options we could explore is we could use contractors to clear vacant plot, or we could explore, which we did do a year or two, devolved management of sites where you give the responsibility to the allotment associations with a budget, and you can either 100% or 50%, whatever. So the allotment association takes on the responsibility of clearing the plots and whatever. So that's a few ideas I put down.
Thank you, Carl. Any questions? Brad, Terry?
Yeah, so sometime I used to rent an allotment in Bury. There, and maybe dissimilar to Thetford in some ways, there was never any question of the council clearing plots. You went on the plot in whatever estate it was, you cleared it yourself. People were very happy to take stuff away, using rubble bags, etc., take it as appropriate to the various parts of the local tip, and there was never an issue. Part of the sort of, how can I say, the initiation of being an allotment holder was to clear your plot. Mm-hmm. I do accept, your points about dangerous stuff, but I wonder if the sort of clearance of plots could be reduced to just the not so much the grass and the weeds, but just the other structures that may not be suitable, and bits and pieces.
On average, when we've had a bad neglected plot, it would take a skip to rubbish, and they're the bigger than a builder skip. They're quite size. You wouldn't fit it in a rubble sack. It's a hard.
No, when I cleared mine, I must have taken 3 or 4 down to the tip. Yeah.
Another thing was a trend was to cover plots in carpet.
That was banned in Bury.
Yeah, we're banned it now, but we're still coming across plots where it's coated, and it's like removing turf in big rolls. It's horrendous.
Carpet is really bad stuff because you get the chemicals from the underlay, which can contaminate the soil, etc.
Okay, Jerry?
I was just curious, of the plots that are red and green on the list, are they from where we've issued notices to quit, or are they because people just unexpectedly have left and we didn't anticipate them leaving?
The Mumford Road ones, that block of red, they've been vacant for a little while now. And it's just a case of leaving the worst to try and get one which isn't so bad back in operation, relet.
Yeah.
So they've just sort of been put on the back burner, but it does need either hire a mini digger or get a firm in, because if you want to install pathways, there's tree stumps where the pathways need to go, so they need to be pulled out.
Okay. So the money that we charge as a deposit is minimal. And I mean, certainly in the case of the red ones there, we're incurring a huge cost putting them back to, I think there's an issue around the level of deposit. But also, I wonder if there's an opportunity, because frankly, people will always move quicker than the council, no disrespect, we've got a lot of responsibilities. Can't we offer, you've done the work, you've coded them green, yellow and red, come to an arrangement where we offer people the chance to take it, but we don't charge them rent for a period of time. If you want us to go in and prepare this allotment plot for you, so it's, gold standard, we will then charge you, the going rate for an allotment. Or if it's green, you can have a year's free rent. If it's yellow, you can have 2 years free rent. And if it's red, you can have 3 years free rent. People have the right to turn that down. But I think it would free up some of these plots and free an awful lot of staff time if we're encouraging people to take them on. Of course, they shouldn't have to pay and move into we have to either have one system or no system. I wonder if that could be a way of dealing with the backlog that there is.
Yeah, possible.
Can we investigate some,
Yeah.
bring back the
Also,
paper at the next meeting?
yeah, or possibly investigate how much it would cost to get, the opposite, the digger in to get all these cleared properly.
Yeah,
We do that.
we had a quote for that block of red, and I think it come to £4,000 top of my head. I can't find the old email about it, but it was a lot of money.
Yeah, okay then. We haven't got that much. Okay, I would also like, if you would agree, to also take this to the informal meeting when we speak to allotment holders. Yes, so we can get their input as well. Yeah, we happy with that? Yeah.
I think one of the things that why we've also done this is that there's a perception at some of the allotment sites, because tenants come in the winter, they take an allotment, they don't start working it until the weather improves as it is now. And only then do they discover, well, maybe it was the wrong decision, we don't really want it. But they pay for a whole year because we charge, for a whole year and then refund at the end of the year. So one of the things that we just wanted to raise is that as much as it looks as if we're not, there's, if you get a report back from the Berry Road Association, for example, they will list a whole lot of unworked plots. But we have to go through a process of actually, doing an inspection, issuing a letter, we're giving them a chance to do it. So there is quite a significant time frame between that happening. So allotmenteers will, I had a phone call yesterday, someone saying, oh, I see that plot is empty. Can can we take it over? And the answer is no, because it's actually not empty. There's still someone there. We're going through a process to actually get rid of, to see if they need to keep that plot or to get, ask them to leave so that we can put someone there that does it. So the numbers what we present doesn't necessarily correlate with what people are seeing on the allotment site. And I think it was just very important to make that point, that there's probably a lot more unworked allotments than what Carl's got. These are the ones that no one's responsible for. There's still a whole lot of plots that people are responsible for that we're going to have to clear probably in August, September this year.
Okay, just go.
I like Terry's idea with pricing of that. The only thing is, we would, what time limits would we put on these?
We're going to investigate.
This was what I was going to ask. I mean, we could specify a time limit now and say it's this, that, or the other. But I think there's room for us to be reasonably flexible to look at and have a picture of the plot itself. I mean, you've obviously done the work, and to say, well, we think this could be tidied up in X, Y, Z number of weeks, months, even perhaps in some really poor ones, years, and just specify that on the terms of that individual plot. How does that sound?
Yes, we'll put for investigation, yeah? We're all happy?
Yeah.
And we're also to take it to the informal meeting with the allotment holds, yeah? Yeah, because we'll have that.
Another concern as well is the amount of rubbish, because I mean, the local skip, you can only take a certain amount of rubbish, can't you? You're only permitted to take.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Would there be a temptation of dumping it or burying it in the ground or?
That's part of our feasibility study.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Burying
monitoring.
stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of monitoring we'd have to do. Okay, we'll go down that road and have a look at your one and see how much it would cost to get it done properly. That might be much quicker than that's idea. Okay, all right then, we happy with that? We'll move on. Right then, where are we now? 151, the financial report.
In terms of the financial report, this is, it's a very small budget. Our budget is about £8,000, £12,000 per annum. We don't spend that much money, and that's part of the problem because we don't know what to spend it on and how to spend it. And that we'll address later on in the meeting. But from an income perspective, in the first few months, we had little income. We have an annual renewal date, which is October, and that's when the bulk of our revenue is billed and paid. So you'll see that the budget for the year is 11,300. At the moment, we've only taken in about £426. So that will remain relatively flat until that happens. On an expenditure perspective, we don't, in the formal budget, we don't budget in that much detail, but we've done an analysis at the bottom there, and you can see that at the moment, annual pest control is quite high. Special plot clearance is where we have to get rid of asbestos. We had a little bit earlier on in the financial year. Security locks, where we buy up locks and we have them in stock, so in case there's a problem that we can replace them. And then repairs to fencing, we've done some repairs in the last this month. But what we're trying to do, and it'll come up later in the agenda, is really come up with a comprehensive maintenance plan for all the sites that's prioritised, and then we can start ensuring that we're actually maintaining our sites to prevent corrective maintenance rather than preventative maintenance. The one thing that I just want to mention is that there's a credit of £1,300 that relates to those ash trees at Thetford Road that we had reduced. Some of them bordered on a residential property, and so we came to an agreement with the resident that we would actually pay for the costs and they would make a contribution to that, and that's what that money is. The chairman of amenities is here, so I should say that it's likely that the cost is sitting in amenities and the income is sitting here. So I will correct that sooner rather than later, so as not to prejudice his committee. But that's really, there's not very much in-depth expenditure at the moment. And like I said, until we get our maintenance plans, we're unlikely to spend significant amounts of money.
Any questions? No? No, noted.
Okay.
Okay. This next one here, do I have to? You haven't got.
No, I've just summarised it.
Okay. So read them up.
Yeah, do you want me to,
Pardon?
do you want me to read them out?
Yeah, go on.
In terms of the allotment site representatives, at one of our last allotment site representative meetings, the representatives asked could they actually submit reports to the allotment committee, and in some of the allotment committees, allotment associations, that's what they've been doing. I have to say, Berry Road, we have constant communication. Their issue, besides other issues that we've responded to immediately, has really been access. One of the maintenance things that we have to address is the access from the Berry Road to their site. In winter months, it's very slippery and cars are damaging the undercarriages. So we just need to kind of look at that as part of our maintenance plans for this particular year. The Munford Road, after each meeting of the Munford Road Association, they kindly send me the minutes of those particular meetings, and I've just summarised them here. They've sent us the AGM where they've elected office bearers. They have an update on what they call the Munford Road Protection Group, which I think is we've spoken about in the public participation section. They set out their committee dates. They've given an open invitation to the officers and councillors of Thetford Town Council to attend those meetings. So I put them there. And then basically they've just asked about hedgehogs and making sure that we kind of take care of that. And so that's what we will kind of react to. But there's not very much issues coming out of the allotment associations, and the other allotment associations still have to send information through. But we did say that this point would be a growing point on the agenda, and hopefully over time there'd be more, similar matters coming through for the attention of and information of the committee.
Okay, any questions? No?
I found that very useful.
What?
I found it very useful.
Good. Something right then. Okay, 15320, update on the allotment competition. Don't know if that is either.
I started to get an update and realised that I couldn't because one of the key people, I have to meet with them and I couldn't facilitate that. And the second person, key person, is actually ill and responded from the hospital bed. So I thought it would be very cruel of me to kind of press for some answers. So I will have to hold this matter over and get an update later on. I did get a brief update before this meeting, and I will, the judging will take place. The first round of judging will take place, I think, on Sunday. But I'll communicate that to the allotment committee members.
Okay, have we got any allotment committee members going to the judging?
I think it was just because of the challenges. I don't think we've had a chance to communicate that. So.
Okay. All right.
But there's 2 rounds of judging. I think first round and second round it might be appropriate for the committee to go to the second round.
It might be the second time, to go.
But I will get an update as soon as possible.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, any questions? No. Right. 15423, proposed programme of work. This is a good one, this one. Right. Formalising roles and responsibilities of allotment representatives. What do we think? Right, the floor first. Yes, Terry?
In terms of representatives, I think we're going to have 2, aren't we?
2 on here. There'll be no, we're not going to have 2. That's not mean we can't do that yet. We've got to wait and see what happens because that's
okay.
We've got to go through each site as they are now.
Thought we were going to have just 2 across the sites.
No, we can't yet. Because it's 6 months not up until we can't change that. We agreed that every site would have a rep, but we can't change it yet.
Oh, okay.
Into that when I got back. Okay. Right, so the first one, the formalising the roles and responsibilities of allotment holders. That's organise a workshop with representatives. We want to do that on the 14th of September. Yeah. I mean, representatives, the representative allotments are vital because they act as a go-between between us and them. There are certain grey areas on the responsibilities of what actually an allotment rep does. Theoretically, as far as I can see, they should try and stop problems before they can reach us on the committee. This is my belief when we back in the day, that's what the allotment reps did. They talked, they had an issue between one allotment holder and another one. They got together, they tried to sort it out. If they couldn't, then it came to the council. Yeah, that's the way when I first joined. I think we should stick with that because the elected reps have some autonomy to a certain degree. I'm not going to go again that one. The elections we want to do and try and do by the end of the month. But what we would like, nomination. Okay.
So I'm a little bit confused here, Chris, because we had a chat the other day.
If we did, but I looked at it, there's nothing I could do about it until this.
It would have been nice if you'd have told me.
Well, I didn't know, I haven't had time. I've been busy, sorry. Some things I have to wait, be done with. Right, sorry, what did you say?
I'm just saying the three-step process.
Yeah.
Call for nomination.
We'll call for nominations at sites where no formal association operates, and that will be done on the 31st of July. Okay? I mean, Mumford Road, you already have yours, don't you? In Nostalgia Head site. Yeah, okay. Right. If required, we will email out ballot papers by the 31st of August. Then the election results will be counted by the 30th of September. And the idea is that Mumford Road will have theirs, Berry Road will have theirs, London Road will have theirs, as we are now, till we can do anything about it, and Icknield Way and Magland Street will stay together. Process modeler. That's what we do, isn't it? Yeah? Right. Are we all happy with that? Yeah? Okay. All right, so any questions on the elections and stuff? No? All right. Programme of site maintenance. We're going to prioritise allotment site maintenance for the next 2 years. And we hope 30th September 20 this year to have a go at what we're going to really get stuck into. You'll have to forgive me for this because this is my first one and I'm learning as I go along. So, okay. Then we'll present the programme to the allotment committee for final approval. I think before,
That's the next meeting.
I think before we do that, I would like to present the programme on an informal meeting with the allotment holders. Yeah, so we're all on the same page.
Can I just check on that one? How does that tally up with the process for reviewing plots? Because we periodically review sort of cultivation and how people are getting on, and that presumably determines how much maintenance needs to be done to some of the plots.
If I can answer, I think there's two things. One is that it's plot maintenance and the other one is the site maintenance. So for example, this is to do with the actual site maintenance. It would be access roads, it would be gates, fences, and securing the actual site. What we're talking about earlier on is just the actual allotment that we would normally tenant out.
That makes sense. Because the overall maintenance will be fairly static, but we can't dictate the demand of how many plots we need to. Okay.
Okay. So you're happy for us to take this informal as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one we can do is revise the rules for the adoption by the allotment committee. This is where we can actually change certain things that we do now. September 24, consider with the new thing where we'll look at revision of rules and about changing some, possibly bringing some in, and then we can amend what we need to do. Okay. A selection of sites by committee members. When I first joined to work with council, we used to go along 3 times a year as councillors and look at the allotments. We haven't done that for a while. What's that?
I like the allotment theme, the rooster, not a roster.
Oh, sorry, it's me.
I like it with typo. Prepare a rooster of meetings.
Don't chicken out. Okay, so we're going to try and bring back the council when the councillors come and visit the allotment. So it's really handy to see, to talk to the allotment holders. We did it 4 times a year when I first started. That was being too much. We're now going to try and do it 3 times. Yeah. I know Carl does his own inspections, etc., and I used to go around doing health and safety stuff, but I would like us to go around in a bunch, not necessarily on the same day, and do different sites, so we can actually have a look and talk to you on your sites. Yeah, because that's much more easier than you coming here and being all official. You can do it on your sites, as long as you're threatened, as long as you don't lock us in and bury us and that. You happy with that idea then? To go around and visit the
It's all
sites?
about communication.
It is, yeah. Yeah, this is something we've got to work on, is the communication.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like a big improvement to me in terms of dialogue. So, you know, I much prefer we do things in partnerships. I think these are really good ideas.
Okay, then. Oh, good. Right, and then feasibility study for Ramsey Close, we've discussed that, and this is something we're going to look at. I fully appreciate the idea is near the train line. I would like us to, possibly look at the possibility of a school clock somewhere. I think that was a good idea. That we can do it, not necessarily there. Because of what you said. Okay.
I think that was just a means of getting around the covenant.
Yeah.
And we don't need to do that, I don't think.
Okay. Right then.
Can I just ask, Chair, on that last one, how quickly can we do that, Alan? Because, you know, that's relatively simple in theory from a legal point of view. But, you know, really, we want to be in a position to have these additional plots, if possible, by the autumn, ready for people to use them next year?
We've done some work on it. So we've estimated car parking, we've estimated plot size, how many we could actually have. We need to get a little bit more indicative costs in terms of fencing and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So we've set a target of the 12th of October, which is the next meeting of this committee.
Yeah.
I know we'll miss the growing season for this year, but I think it would possibly do that anyway. I mean, we're in July, August, and then September, you know.
Yeah.
So it would certainly be in line for next year. It would give us time to actually implement the costs, because there might be getting a digger in and doing all sorts of things. It might take us quite a considerable time to do that.
But the very first job is to check to see if the covenant would prevent us from having allotments there.
There is a quote for that. We've already obtained to do that.
Okay, so presumably after this meeting, if the committee is happy with that,
We would.
because if the lawyers come back and say, no way, Jose, you can't do anything, we don't have any potential land for allotment.
No.
But if they approve that, in theory, the onus is on us then to do the necessary work to bring it into use.
And who does this feasibility study? Yourself and Carl?
Yes.
And
He's done most of the work already, I have to say.
you don't want anyone from the committee on it?
But I think the point that Councillor Jeremy's just said is that we've got to get the covenant reviewed. So we've got a legal quote to do that. We'll do that, and then from there we can then decide on next steps.
Yeah.
We've just done a paper exercise at the moment in terms of looking at plot sizes and likely car park areas, a basic plan, but that is all subject to the covenant.
Yeah. And I know Terry's already done quite a lot of work in terms of consultation with residents of Ramsey Close.
I believe so, yes.
I think it's important that the council does some sort of consultation as well. Because at the moment, Ramsey Close is pretty much locked up all the time. It's derelict. If this goes ahead, there'll be more cars going down. I mean, there's not going to be loads of plots in Ramsey Close if it does go ahead. I think
They're saying 10,
10, which
with 8 car parking spaces.
brilliant.
Um,
So it's more
which-
footfall basically.
Yeah, which I'm guessing, I mean, there's obviously some sort of algorithm there to, of plots to car parking spaces, and this sort of leads me to another point really. Yes, there are a lot of people in town who want allotments, and I'm very cognizant of that, but equally, I feel it might be nice to give some sort of preference to local residents. Several of them expressed an interest in having a plot, and I think we should give them to those people first as local, and then spread the net outwards.
Yeah,
Is that fair?
Well,
Sorry.
I think it's really important to recognise that the only plot we've got to the north of Thetford is Mumford Road. There is nothing further north. Most of our plots are located down towards the south. So I know because I've asked one of our officers what the waiting list looks like in terms of residents from Admiral's Way, Norwich Road Estate, and there are people waiting for plots on that side of town, and it would seem logical to prioritise people from that.
That makes sense.
So
We can do
might be
that.
getting ahead of ourselves, but if the covenant can be altered, then I think it's a really good way forward.
Yeah, definitely. Okay then. Happy with that one? That's all got it. Right, 15523, emergency access to allotment sites and events after our emergency. And we can do this without compromising security. Some allotment representatives have raised this. The rules state that gates to be locked at all times due to security risk to allotment holders. Remoteness of allotment sites, Icknield Way in particular, the use of what 3 words to identify site entrances, out of hours telephone number. This is being considered by other committees, and I'm not sure if our combination lock numbers are given to emergency services, are they?
I'm not too sure. I was hoping to talk to the town team manager, but
Okay, because I think that's a must for now. They must have those. Yeah, and the promoters must have those. They picked after they haven't. To be fair. Okay then. Any thoughts on the gates, people?
Have there been occasions where, I assume, because this is why it's come up, how often are we talking about access needs to be given? What's the extent of the problem?
Sorry, sure I can spend a meeting to that young man can give his opinion. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, banding all these things, suspend the meeting. Is that okay with yourselves? And then you can speak.
So I didn't hear what Terry said.
Oh, well, I was just gonna, the bit where it was somebody near gentleman here's plot, they fell over on their plot. Luckily enough, there was somebody nearby who was able to open the gates for the ambulance. I would accept that doesn't happen very often, but it could be, for instance, that there could be a fire or something on there, because the fire service can't get on there.
Yeah.
And that was the reason was, and I know for a fact that if you're an elderly person with a key lock on your house, that is put onto your record, so if an ambulance is called there, they know what the combination is on that particular house.
Yeah.
And so this is how it got brought up. I could finally.
The lady dislocated her ankle, we couldn't move her, we couldn't do anything. We waited almost 2 hours for the ambulance, but one of the non-drivers actually was on his way home, and he actually stood at the gate for 2 hours waiting for the ambulance, rather than lock. So, yeah, that can be a problem.
Glenn, did you say something?
Yeah, just that Terry said something. My hearing's getting worse and worse. Terry said something, and I didn't know what he said, and then he says suspend the meeting, so I just wanted to know what the question was.
I was wondering about the size of the problem and how often, we need emergency access to the allotments, basically.
Okay, then there was another incident which, because the person was quite embarrassed, we didn't kind of spread it around very much, but somebody set fire to their shed and the fire brigade were called out and they managed to get it okay and it was put out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But the only reason I mentioned it is just to say that, there was an incident, that would have been just pre-COVID, I think, that would have been.
Yeah.
Or during COVID, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll restart the meeting now, yeah? Okay.
I know years gone by, we used to have, they call them sort of familiarisation visits, where the fire service came to King's House, and they certainly come to places like Charles Burrell Centre on a reasonably often basis. So they can review the site, how to gain access, that sort of thing. I think it would be worth looking into that, because it helps to review the processes of who I need to bring to get a key, or, if it's a combination. But I think if it's a combination lock, the obvious thing is to give them the codes. That's never fail safe, because you never know who you're going to get, where the ambulance is from and all the rest of it. But, it's about dialogue with the different emergency services, I think.
Well, that would be a good idea to get the fire ambulance to pop up to the Mumford Road one first.
Yeah.
To have familiarise whatever you said, what goes on it. Okay, do we have any other preference? Carl, you have issues with the locks all the time, as we discussed earlier.
Never any dealings with emergency services. I mean, I think with the fire brigade, they probably just crop the lock, couldn't they? If there was an emergency, just crop it and in they go. Bit different with ambulances and things like that. I don't know if they are carrying coffers and things, but I wouldn't know what to suggest.
No, it's not easy. I know when I did my health and safety checks, I was really one who insisted that the gates were shut, mainly for security. I had an example which I'll give you. I went onto one of our sites. There was only a lady on the whole site. The gates are wide open. She had headphones or earphones in, and I got within 2-3 feet of her before she knew I was there. No, okay, I mean, it's not good. I've been frightened alive at the full one, but you can imagine the scare that can happen. Then we had some issues with stuff disappearing from various sites, so we thought we would lock the gates. The London Road one is slightly easier because they have a pedestrian gate. So that wasn't so much of a problem. We don't have that on Mumford Road. The Icknield Way site is a key lock. We have an issue with the locking on there, which we're looking into.
Anyway, won't we?
Yeah, we're going to replace the lock and the keys on Mumford Road. The security and health and safety of the allotment holders, my personal preference is the gates to be locked. But I'll go with the majority of the people, and we'll also take this back when we have our next informal meeting and discuss it there and get the feeling from allotment holders, and then come back and then decide. We're not, happy with that?
I think the key thing is the dialogue with the emergency services, because they will have these sort of access issues for other allotment sites, other factories, workplaces, and you need a system that works for them.
Yeah, can we do that?
we could come up with all sorts of system and they'll say, well, you know, that doesn't work for us. Let them give us some advice about what we need to do to give them access.
Even if we have to go to the fire station and talk to them, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, we happy? Yeah. Right, the next one, 15623, is my doing. I really enjoyed my time with doing the health and safety checks on the allotments. I got to meet allotment holders and I found lots of faults which we put right over the years. And then, due to my distinct lack of knowledge on procedure, it was stopped. I want to reintroduce my health and safety visits to all the allotments where I can go round and act, not as a stopgap for Carl, but as another pair of eyes. I see different things. We also, Councillor Land is also fully health and safety trained, so he can do some as well. But what we're going to do this time, instead of me reporting to Carl and Alan, I've got to send it off straight to the town clerk. Are you happy with that? Yeah. Because I think health and safety is vital. When I first joined the council, we had razor wire, we had barbed wire, we had tape sticking up and all sorts of stuff. And we managed to do a lot of that. Yeah. You happy, Carl?
Yeah.
You don't mind me going round again?
As you say, I'm NEBOSH qualified,
Yeah, so we
certified, I should say.
yeah, we go and do that.
I'm very happy to come round with you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we will definitely do that. Okay, 157 to correspondence.
Other than the matters that we're going to deal in confidence, what we've received from the allotment associations, which I've referred to earlier on the agenda, there is no other correspondence.
Okay, then community engagement. What do we want to tell them? Any thoughts? What we want to tell them? Nothing as yet. No. Okay then.
So just, I know we don't meet very often, but at some point, just following up the points in the public session, at some point in advance of the October meeting, we should be putting out a statement as a council, giving an update on the Mumford Road situation.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we made that, I can't remember when we made the decision, but it was a while ago. And, you know, we should be saying what we know in the form of a statement, which is not a lot at the moment. I'm hoping we might know some more soon. But, you know.
No, this is true because there was some misinformation out there where someone on the Bury Road was told they would have to get off their allotment to make room for someone coming from the Mumford Road allotment, which was absolute rubbish. You know, but it got out there and I went round to see them and try and smooth the thing over. You know, we have to make sure that we keep above this misinformation. And we will talk to the allotment holders. The allotment reps can speak to us as well, bits and pieces. We'll do it that way. I would agree with that. Yeah, we can make sure. Okay, this is the one I've got to read out now. This is a good one, this one. You have to forgive me now, right? Item 15923, exclusion of press and public. To consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, the press and public will be excluded for any remaining items of business on the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. Do we all agree?
Agreed.
Agree?
Yeah.
Stop the recording.
See you later, Ben. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that wasn't too painful.
Yeah.
Not really. No.